Hey, Pastor Josh here. We're reading Genesis chapter 34, verses 24 through 32, and we've come to the conclusion of this just terrible, horrific situation. And the brothers are going to get their revenge on Shechem and get an overbearing revenge. Their anger and their desire for justice is good and correct, but they overdo it. As one commentator said, you even kind of look at these as being future nations and even becoming nations. And so he would even say, hey, you have just war that is happening prematurely. And so perhaps it could have been avoided. But the anger and the desire for justice is correct, but the way they went about it is incorrect. So let us look at what the brothers did. We know their scheme that they have already set forth. They're going to have all the guys circumcised. And what we've not seen yet is that we know it's deceitfully, but what we will see at this point is that their motive is not to become one, but to immobilize all the males so that they can come in and kill everybody. So, and all who went out of the gate of his city, listen to Hamor, in his son Shechem, and every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of the city. So you see it's surrounded here, it's sandwiched. It's telling you everyone who went out of the gate of the city. So all able-bodied males that went out of the gate of the city, they were circumcised. And they listened to Hamor. I have that with the purple with a slash through. That's an example not to follow. These folks are listening to their king, to their leader, to their prince, but see the leadership, the decisions that they're making is based on the lust of Shechem and trying to justify, cover up, or fix his lustful actions. Again, if you remember when Hamor and Shechem talked to Jacob and his sons, there was no mention of repentance or I'm sorry or this was wrong. They were just wanting to set up a deal where they could, where Shechem could marry Dinah. And then actually they even see a further opportunity for the people of Shechem and the people of their city to marry the people of Jacob and to marry Jacob's other daughters and marry into the family. And ultimately their goal was to assimilate them into their culture and to take all of their sheep and goats and everything that they had into their property. So the goal was very economic and was greedy even in this sense. They weren't being circumcised because they were wanting to follow the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They were being circumcised so they could get some sheep and some goats and prosper economically. So it's an example not to follow. Whenever leaders are doing things out of selfish motivation or lustful motivation, we've got to watch those two things. 25, on the third day when they were sore, two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers. So Simeon and Levi are actually Dinah's full brothers. They are from Leah. The four first males from Leah were Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. And Dinah is also a daughter from Leah. So they are Dinah's full brothers. And so they go and they take their swords and they come against the city while it felt secure, and they killed all the males. I meant to make that a red. That is a sin. Again, I want to clarify, not because of their hatred of the sin, that would be correct, and not because of their desire for justice for what they did to Dinah. That would also be correct. But they overdo it. They're killing everybody. I mean, it was just Shechem that did it. And so they are, the justice is not even. They are getting revenge, and they are getting some more as well. So they killed all the males. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the sword and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went away. So here's where we see that Dinah is in Shechem's house. And the sons of Jacob came upon the slain and plundered the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their flocks and their herds, their donkeys, and whatever was in the city and in the field, all their wealth, all their little ones and their wives, all that was in the house, they captured and they plundered. So they're taking everything from Shechem. They killed all the males and they take it all for themselves. Again, this is a terrible story of how all of this is running out. In fact, they are even responding to evil with more evil. And we're definitely told and clarified by Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount that that is not the way to go. You don't return evil for evil, but instead we return good for evil. That's what we're called to do as Christians and people of God. So then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi. So here again, we're going to see this contrast between Jacob's sons and Jacob. Jacob is not morally outraged, or he doesn't seem to be in the text. The brothers are extremely morally outraged in what Shechem did to Dinah. They're upset. He is not. And then the brothers do justice, and more so. They take it into their own hands. They go overboard. Totally. But they do this, and then Jacob is outraged about that, and then they are trying to defend themselves. But I think it's real important for us to pay close attention. Why is Jacob outraged? Is he outraged about the killing, the murder, the needlessness in that, or what else? So let's look. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on me by making me stink in the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites." So you see, his concern is not what they did. His concern is his reputation. This is that old sin and that old idol of people pleasing, that we want to please people. And so Jacob is not bothered by what they did. He's bothered by the effects of it, and that everybody in the land is going to not think well of him. In fact, may come in and attack him. They are going to make him stink to the inhabitants of the land. That is justice going awry. And I think we all need to remember, why is the people of Israel, why is Jacob and his family in this situation? It is because Jacob has failed to fulfill his vow that he made at Bethel when he was on his way to Haran. He vowed that he would build an altar in Haran and that he would settle there and that he would worship the Lord. Rather than going to Bethel, he stays at Shechem. He builds an altar there and he makes that his land. So all of this is happening. All of this mess is happening ultimately because he did not keep his vow unto the Lord. And this is very sad that this happens right after this massive forgiveness that Esau shows to Jacob and this wrestling of God with Jacob. This chapter happens right after that. And so we need to remember as Christians that we need to keep on going, keep on obeying, keep on seeking after the Lord, or we could find ourselves putting ourselves and our family and other people around us in terrible situations because of what we've done. So he says, "My numbers are few, and if they gather themselves together against me and attack me, I shall be destroyed, both I and my household." But they said, "Should he treat our sister like a prostitute?" Again, you're seeing the contrast between Jacob and his sons. And that is an attitude for us to adopt. That is what he was doing. That is what Shechem was doing. And then we also need to pay close attention and realize that Shechem is the one that ultimately gets the blame. Yes, Dinah was hanging around in places she shouldn't have been, being friends with people she shouldn't have been. But at the end of the day, the responsibility and the sin is placed on Shechem because he treated her like a prostitute. So we need to keep that in mind, is that any sort of sexual sin ultimately needs to be placed on the one that is that is the perpetrator, not the victim. I hope that has been some sort of blessing to you as we have talked through this very difficult chapter, and I will see you all in the next video.